Welcome, everybody. Wednesday morning, hey, otherwise known as Hump Day. We're at the midpoint of the week, and we're on the home stretch until lunchtime today here in Sydney. So, looking forward to getting underway. What we've got in store for you today is transforming your analytics with AI. We did this three-part workshop at Data Eng Bytes a couple of weeks back, and um, attendees got quite a lot out of it. So I guess today we're just going to take you through the second module. I think I mentioned in the previous webinar that we were going to do real-time streaming analytics today, but instead we'll do the AI side of things first, because we're already set up with the batch data built out with our Mage data pipeline. So looking forward to diving into this webinar pretty much directly. Before we do, though, always interested in finding out where you're dialing in from. And just wanted to make sure that, if you've got any questions throughout the webinar today, please do put them forward. More than happy to sort of pause and take questions on the fly. Otherwise, we can take them at the end. But it's always good if something pops into your head, just feel free to drop it in the chat. And once I come up for air, I'll sort of pop them up on screen and make sure that we can get your questions answered. So, but yeah, my question to you right now is, like, where are you all dialing in from? I'd love to find out whether it's mainly an Australian and New Zealand audience that we're getting on these webinars, or we're getting folks from further afield. So please do, pop in either the city or the country that you're dialing in from. Cool. All right, let me get my slides shared. Let me see how I can do this. Okie I might just share an entire screen, which is screen 2. Let's just see how this all works out. Cool. All right. So you should be able to see the slides up on screen. So yeah, just let me know either in the comments or anywhere else if you can't see that. But yeah, hopefully you're in the right spot. So webinar brought to you by Cloud Shuttle around transforming your analytics with AI. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to experiment with some of the amazing AI capabilities on Cortex AI on the Snowflake Data and AI Cloud. So it should be a lot of fun. Cool. Without further ado, we might get this party started. So let me quickly get this thing up and running. Cool. Oh, okay. 1 second. My apologies for the delay, folks. Cool. Let's get underway. All right. So if you've been to these webinars before, you've probably seen me around the traps or seen me around either the consulting circles or probably at a data engineering meetup or a Data Eng Bytes conference. I'm the founder and principal consultant at Cloud Shuttle. Been doing data for about 20 years. Industry leader and done a lot in the AWS space, and founded Data Eng Bytes about 9 years ago. Cloud Shuttle is a homegrown Australian data engineering consultancy that really sort of focuses in around data platform engineering and ensuring that you and your team are ready to rock and roll once we've done the implementation or as we're going through it. So we're very sort of focused in on training and uplifting teams and the Australian and New Zealand community at large. So definitely that's a big part of our mission, and obviously our community work with the conference ties in quite nicely with that. Also these webinars. So yep, this is Cloud Shuttle. This is our amazing logo. Basically we do, data platforms in under 3 months, data migrations in under 3 months. We're really sort of focused on delivering a lot of value. Oftentimes people ask us, what's our core specialty? like we're good at a lot of things, but I definitely see a lot of folks reaching out to us to migrate SQL Server data warehouses onto warehouses like Snowflake. So definitely, if that's kind of what you're struggling with at the moment, or it's a task that's kind of going to take you a few too many cycles, please do reach out. We're more than happy to help. Okay, diving into the webinar today. So, what we're doing today is we're going to basically create an AI powered natural language queries with Claude on Snowflake, auto generate daily summaries of Snowflake, of daily summaries using Snowflake Cortex, and create interactive Streamlit dashboards. And then a smart traffic advisor chatbot for real world data. So got a lot on the lineup for today, so hopefully it'll be nice and enjoyable. And thank you so much, Sogat, for joining us. Really excited to have you on the live stream as well. So, if you did join us at the last live stream, we're going to be working with a real world data set. So, this is not generated data, this is the actual live New South Wales transport incidents data set. And what it includes is traffic incidents in New South Wales. So, accidents, roadworks, hazards, special events. So, it's a really good data set for demonstrating both batch and streaming patterns. And also, it's a really great data set because it's something that people. Um, oh, okay. My apologies, folks. We don't have the slides up on screen, so I will just get them up on screen for you. Okay, do let me know if this is not working. It looks to me like the slides are back up on screen. So yeah, so basically this is our data set, and it's a really good data set to leverage with AI, because basically oftentimes, you know, you might be in your car or just kind of asking, say, um, you know, some sort of chatbot, hey, what's the weather like? What's the traffic like? And stuff like that. And you want a real time summary of what's going on with that, say, the roads on Sydney today. So it's definitely a very good data set to use with, you know, in that particular use case where you're wanting live updates. So sorry again, folks. My screen seemed to have dropped off again, so I'm just going to share it again. I will keep a keen eye on this to make sure that this doesn't happen too frequently. So my apologies. Awesome. So here's a little bit about the structure. You would have seen this in our previous webinar, but basically there's, you know, lat longs in there, some nested data in a JSON payload. So definitely a little bit of data engineering work, data modeling work to sort of extract out the necessary fields that we want in order to process this data. But as you can see, it's got a bit of geospatial, categorical, and descriptive information, perfect for comprehensive analysis. Awesome. So, additional features available. Here's some of the different things that's available. We won't go into too much detail because what you're here for is really the generative AI side of things. So we'll dive into that pretty well directly. So, what is the modern data stack? This is a bit of a recap from our previous session, but what we see with a lot of clients is, you know, really slow ETL processes, taking hours when it comes to the traditional data stack. You know, expensive proprietary tooling, SQL Server licensing costs, these sorts of things, and other licensing costs. Vendor lock-in. So basically, if you want to do anything special, you need to go to the vendor and ask for those extra widgets, which come at a price, and also just can't scale with data growth. Oftentimes, you know, we see, you know, on-prem server racks, they've got fixed capacity. If you want to get extra capacity, you need to put in an order, wait a couple of months to get it racked, and then, you know, obviously that's not great if you've just got, you know, some temporary processing that you need to do in over the next couple of hours. You just want to scale out that's not a possibility. And oftentimes, like, you know, there's no real time capabilities. So people more and more are demanding real time data processing, and oftentimes a lot of these systems don't have real time capabilities. More so due to the fact that they just can't handle the load, or they're not really set up for um, a lot of that sort of like OLTP ingestion style processing. So modern data solutions involve real-time data processing, cloud native and scalable. So if you need to get a really massive amount of compute all of a sudden and scale up and then scale down quickly after that, that's a possibility. Leverage open standards so that there's a lot of interoperability between different tools and stacks. So leveraging Iceberg and Kafka, and then just leveraging the best tool for each job. Say, one particular tool might be amazing at data warehousing, another tool might be really amazing at ingestion, another tool might be really amazing at the ML and generative AI workflows. And so, that's kind of, these open standards allow you to pick the best tool for the best job. So basically, and also what we want to see is AI and ML integration, because that's kind of table stakes these days. So the business impact is that we can see faster insights, lower costs, and better user experience, because that's kind of fundamentally what drives all the activity that we're doing. Is it's not really sort of like what we're interested in is like, what are the business outcomes that we're trying to drive? How can we enable the organization better with data and machine learning and generative AI? And so we're just trying to pick a technology stack that helps data engineers and data developers do just that, and also that'll therefore enable the end business outcomes that we're trying to achieve, for whether it be the executives at board level, or just the folks on the ground executing, whether it be marketing campaigns, or you know um, trying to fine tune their product life cycles and things like that. So definitely uh, important things, really fundamental things that we need to be considering when we're designing solutions. So this is module 2 of the 3-part workshop. It's going to be focused on AI analytics. So without further ado, let's dive in. Interactive analytics with Snowflake and Streamlit AI. The goal here today is to build an AI-powered analytics dashboard that combines batch data from Iceberg. Oops, slides disappeared again. I'll bring them back on. You know, so the goal of today is to build an AI-powered analytics dashboard that combines batch data from Iceberg with real-time insights using Snowflake's compute power and AI capabilities. So what is Snowflake? Snowflake's been around. It pretty much invented serverless data warehousing. Like, it's got a phenomenal, compute layer and query engine that really was a game changer, 10 or so years ago. Now it's more than just a data warehouse. It's definitely sort of like a data and AI cloud these days. And it still does a phenomenal job at its data warehousing solution. But not only that, all of the capabilities that it's bringing to the table, and I think what Snowflake's really well known is it's that easy button. So Snowflake have put an incredible amount of effort and time into making the user experience for data engineers and data practitioners, even like business users, really, really phenomenal. Like, it's so easy to use. And so I think, and that's kind of definitely sort of, you can see this coming to the fore in its approach to generative AI. I love the Cortex AI service because it makes a lot of sense, and it's not super complex. It's, as you'll see as we go through this exercise, you kind of see how interacting with Cortex AI, and just how you model the data in order to use Cortex AI effectively and cost effectively as well is quite intuitive. So that's definitely a really massive benefit with using Snowflake as your not only your data warehousing solution, but your data and AI cloud. So that's really awesome. So basically, business benefits of using uh, you know um, uh, Snowflake. Definitely, there is a lot of. I think we've got a typo there, but there's a massive cost reduction in using Snowflake because obviously, when you're using serverless compute and not paying for always on like traditional warehouses, that results in, I dare say probably a 60 to 70% cost reduction. Allows you to instantly scale for peak workload. So being serverless, if you need to throw more compute at the problem, you can both horizontally and vertically scale out. No infrastructure management required, so you're not needing to patch the underlying VMs or anything like that. And it's got built-in security and governance. So another tool that we're going to be using today is Streamlit dashboards. So Streamlit is just pure Python development, no complicated HTML, CSS, and JavaScript required. It's got real-time interactivity with widgets, native integration with data science libraries, easy deployment and sharing, and built-in caching for performance. Business benefits with Streamlit is like 10x faster dashboard development, no front end development skills required. Who's had to grapple with complex like CSS and JavaScript libraries? Definitely always a bit of a challenge. So it allows you to do rapid prototyping and iteration and easy stakeholder collaboration. So really good one for executive dashboards, data exploration tools, model demos, and operational monitoring. Awesome. So now, finally, who hasn't used Claude AI? I think quite a few of us have, right? And so basically, Claude AI is really good at natural language processing. It's an advanced AI assistant capable of understanding and generating human-like text for data analysis. So its key capabilities is natural language query processing, automated insight generation, text summarization and analysis, code generation and explanation, and multi-turn conversation about data. So it can keep a bit of a memory of like what its previous responses were and sort of string together an intelligent conversation. So it obviously works seamlessly with Snowflake's Cortex AI functions. And I think the business benefit for leveraging Claude with Cortex AI is that it democratizes data access for non-technical users. Not everyone can write SQL. Not everyone understands how to sort of interact with data, and not everyone's kind of really sort of got that understanding of how to interpret data appropriately. So having all of that sort of prepackaged up for you is a phenomenal piece of technology, and a real benefit for data teams that could be very swamped in terms of kind of how much work they need to do and stuff like that. And I can see that leveraging Claude AI with Cortex AI can really sort of alleviate a lot of the pressure that data teams experience. So I think this is a really useful tool that folks can leverage to, I guess, take a little bit of pressure off their data teams. So this is a little bit of the architecture that we're going to leverage. So basically, we've got our Iceberg data over here, and then we're using an external table to pull in the incidents table on Iceberg, create some analytics views, and then we've got some Cortex AI functions, and we'll create views on top of that, and then that'll sort of end up in an interactive dashboard for real-time analytics. Cool. So in terms of how we get all of this set up, these are some of the functions that we need to implement in Snowflake in order to achieve this. So basically, typical things that we would do in Snowflake is, from a warehousing perspective, is create a database schema, um, and then um, and then the actual warehouse in Snowflake. The concept of warehouse is effectively the compute that we're going to be using for the query engine, as opposed to the storage layer, which is the database and schemas where the data is getting stored. So that's pretty much that. Also, if Snowflake is to access via external tables, AWS, we need to have IAM roles and a policy for the S3 access. Um, to access that workshop bucket, we call it a workshop bucket because it's got all of the data for the workshop that we're running right now. And then obviously we need to get the role ARN to add for Snowflake integration. Obviously, there's quite a few steps in here. For the purpose of doing this workshop, we didn't want to sort of walk you through all of that. But if you do want to actually find out a little bit more, or you're having a few questions about how to get all of this set up to get Snowflake external table access to an Iceberg table, whether it be on the Glue data catalog or somewhere else, just feel free to reach out. We're happy to help. So after that, we've got the S3 integration set up. I spoke a little bit about that before, but effectively, this is kind of what you need to be looking at is, implementing a storage integration. So AWS IAM user ARN, and then your external ID as well. And then what we want to do is we want to create an Iceberg table to sort of get at this external volume, which is effectively what they're treating S3 as, and then the S3 catalog, and then obviously, and then what we want to do as well is ensure that we've got the most up-to-date information from Iceberg. So effectively, what Iceberg is it's a catalog of metadata about all of the files that get stored um, in Iceberg, all of the Parquet files on S3, and effectively what happens is that as new files get loaded into the Iceberg catalog in the Glue data catalog, we need to just then make sure that the Snowflake external table, which effectively again is another Iceberg catalog, for want of a better word, it makes sure that that's all up to date and has a copy of all of that metadata information, so that it knows of the new files that need to be pulled in. Hopefully that all makes sense. Definitely pop in any questions if you've got any questions with regards to sort of keeping those two catalogs in sync, so that Snowflake knows how to access the data in the Glue data catalog or another external data catalog. Awesome. So part two of this is kind of how do we then leverage like these AI functions in order to create smart text summaries. So as you've probably seen with your other use of AI tools and generative AI tools, they've got these context windows, and they sort of have this concept of tokens. And effectively, as like good prompt engineers, we always want to make sure that we're being efficient with our use of tokens. And effectively, that means whatever text we're sending to the large language model, we want to keep that as reduced as possible. And so how do we achieve that? A lot of it's around doing a lot of data preparation to aggregate the information as best as we can. So what we're doing here is we've got this view where we're creating a CTE, a common table expression here. And so we've got the incident date, total account of the total incidents, average severity score, count if of the Boolean if it is a major incident. And then we've got a couple of array aggregates, which is effectively, you can imagine you've got a list of categories, and then we're just concatenating them and sort of like transposing them into a single row from a list of rows, and then comma separating them. So that's basically what that array unique aggregate is all about in terms of like the categories and then the regions and stuff like that. So as you can see, we're probably condensing down, tens of thousands of records, hundreds of thousands of records into, probably no more than a few hundred lines of records, rows of data. And so effectively that's reducing the context window. And then um, so we've got this common table expression daily stats, and then we're selecting a whole bunch of data from that daily stats table, and then calling this Snowflake Cortex complete function, where we can just kind of ask it to generate a brief traffic summary for um, all of this data that we're passing through to it. So hopefully that all makes sense, and then we've got this as a view, and then we can leverage this view in a subsequent query just to kind of get some of the summary incidents from each day, for the last 3 days. So hopefully that all makes a lot of sense. It'll hopefully make a bit more sense as we dive into the demo. So next, we want to take you through natural language query functions. So there's an AI traffic advisor function that we can leverage as well. So we're just generating a couple of views here again. Potentially, we could have used common tables expressions, but effectively, we've got traffic summary, top problem areas, and problem streets. You might want to, if you're deciding which street to take on your way home, you might want to avoid some of these if you're getting this information live to you. So here's this AI powered traffic advisor function. So we've got this. Again, we're leveraging all of these views. We're unioning them all up. And again, we're using Snowflake Cortex Complete. We're doing a little bit of prompt engineering here to sort of give it a question. We're obviously using the Llama 3 8 billion model, 8 billion parameter. And then we're asking it, you're a traffic advisor for New South Wales, Australia. Here is the recent traffic data. You can put in a question to enable that sort of chatbot, pass that in as a query parameter, and then again a little bit more prompt engineering at the bottom, give specific practical traffic advice for drivers. So hopefully that all makes sense. Now I'll take you through a little bit of the demo. So let me just fix up my screen. But yeah, as you can see, lots of really cool features available, and hopefully this is not just something that you find pretty cool, but also that you can get a little bit of inspiration from, because I think what we're always really keen to find out from folks is whether you're sort of getting what sort of value you're getting from these demos, and how this might inspire you as well. Cool. Okay, so I am just going to share a little bit of my screen again. Awesome. Hopefully you can see my amazing Snowflake interface. So here's effectively some of those queries that we had to run, to set up all of the infrastructure for this workshop. As you can see, we've got run all these create databases and stuff like that. We've got the AWS role ARN and base URL. You can see our amazing account number there. Don't worry, it's all fully locked down. And then we've got this iceberg table with the external volume, and then we're we've got this the refresh of the metadata catalog. So hopefully that all makes sense. And as you can see, we can just quickly run this to see whether there's some data in there. And of course there is. Awesome. So we'll just go into this CSM2 AI. So this is module 2 of the workshop. So as you can see, we'll just hit this to use the AI insight schema. I won't rerun this because it'll probably take a little bit of time. But as you can see, we can just run this query that's leveraging this query above. And effectively, what it'll show you is some of the insights. Some of this is obviously a little bit on the old side, but effectively, it gives you this summary back of and some information about what happened that particular day. 48 incidents. Severity was quite low, so a relatively quiet day on Sydney's roads. With only 48 incidents. And so we've got a little bit like that. So I wonder if I can just kind of refresh, see if we've got anything more fresh coming through. Okay. Nineteenth of August. Okay, that's a bit more recent, so that's good. We've got some fresher data. See if this will. Okay, that's a little bit closer. So 26 of July. Cool. So what happened here? Still, the severity is pretty low. There were no major incidents. This one looks a bit juicier. 12 incidents, one major, average severity. Interesting. Let me just see if I can force it to get some more recent data. Please do send through in the chat any questions you might have if you're if you want to send them through. Okay, so 19th of August, this is fairly recent, so let's have a look at what happened yesterday. 266 incidents, no major incidents reported. Great. Well, good on you, Sydney. You've been driving nice and safely. That's always a positive sign. So keep up the great work. Cool. So let's take a look at the traffic summary now. We'll get this one done. So which areas should I avoid today? Let's take a look at this. Interesting. So it's advising Northern Sydney, Eastern Creek, Mascot, and Wiseman's Ferry. Cool. Well, nothing around my area, so I'm pretty happy. I'm sort of like closer to the Georges River area in Sydney, so um, seems like I've got a free run at the moment. So this query is what are the main traffic problems right now? Yeah. So yeah, I think this is all really good advice, and I guess it gives you a little bit more of a natural language way to interface. So as you can see, we've got what we're doing is we're passing in a little bit of text. Sorry, I'll share my screen again. Um, Taking a little bit of text, injecting that into the query, as we can see right there, and and it's returning a response in. I wouldn't say too long of a period of time, given it's leveraging an LLM model. So the main thing to think about is like all of the different use cases. You could have these types of functions in an internal dashboard. Where it's got like a text box that you can sort of like allow your end users to leverage. So that could be that could be a really cool functionality to alleviate some pressure from your data team. So really good capability, and amazing that Snowflake have made this so easy to interact with. Cool. So again, here's just a couple of the summaries that we're seeing from the data, which is really cool. But all of this, like we've said, we can just kind of we can, instead of actually trying to interpret this ourselves, we can just literally get the AI Snowflake Cortex to sort of uh, do the interpretation for us, which obviously is going to free up a lot of hours in our day to do more value adding work. So this is really cool. I'm really interested to find out from you kind of what other things that you feel could be some of the use cases that you could use some of this these techniques for to save you time in your day. So please do sort of pop them through in the chat. But yeah, so as you can see, we've summarized all of these incident counts, severities, and stuff like that, average scores, and number of affected suburbs, and then again we've kind of like provided another breakdown of what's happened there. So really, really cool use of generative AI to alleviate pressure from data teams in terms of, they're taking the time out to interpret all of this data. Definitely, you want to, probably, put in some testing around sort of how these interpretations are working and whether they're actually appropriate. But definitely, there's just an incredible amount of capability um, within what we're seeing here. And I think even just going through this, a lot of my neurons are firing off thinking about all the different things that we can leverage from this platform. So really exciting indeed. So hopefully you found this workshop to be beneficial. Awesome. I'm going to just switch back to the slides in a second. Oop. Okie dokie. Awesome. Okay, so we've done that demo. I know I promised a real-time analytics dashboard. What we might do is we might get that up and running for our for the module 3 demonstration, so that you can see all of that coming through in real time. But effectively, what we've seen today is that we've got we've been able to create an AI powered analytics solution, which means that we've been able to reduce manual reporting effort, through automated AI summaries to eliminate hours of daily report generation, lower infrastructure costs because obviously we're leveraging the cloud rather than having always on capabilities. We've democratized data access. You don't need to be a SQL or a data expert to actually interact with this raw data, and obviously that in turn has the effect of making faster decision making um, um, enabled. So really, really good capability that through the use of smart engineering techniques and the Snowflake data and AI cloud, we're able to achieve all of that. Cool. So, in terms of wrapping up module two, with a couple of pro tips, because let's face it, generative AI can get expensive very fast. So, um, big thing to do is just use result caching. Snowflake caches results for 24 hours. So, if someone's smashing the same query over and over again, if that can hit a result cache, obviously you're not paying for that. Calculate the tokens before sending to Cortex AI and Snowflake, because higher tokens mean higher costs. So, you know, 4 characters equals 1 token. So, just even doing like a character or a word count can give you a fair idea. So I'll just share the slides again. Um, Batch AI operations, which means basically if you've got like 1 call or 1,000 calls, it's probably better to just sort of batch up those 1,000 calls, using array aggregation for better optimization for Cortex AI. Try a cheaper model first, especially if it's not doing anything super intelligent with the data. Llama 3 8 billion parameter model um, might might do the trick much faster than, say, or like much more cost effectively than Mistral Large, because like there's 10x cost difference. So definitely leveraging something smaller might be your best bet. And optimize your prompts. Not everything needs to have a War and Peace prompt. So shorter, specific prompts save tokens and improve response time as well. So definitely some really good advice right there. Any questions? I guess we've been a little bit quiet on the live stream today. So that's all good. But wanted to say a massive thank you. If any of the things that I've shown to you today are of interest, me and the Cloud Shuttle team are, do a lot of work in this space. So we'd love to help you out, get you up and running. And hopefully this has inspired you to build some fantastic use cases on the Snowflake data and AI cloud. So thanks so much. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Our next webinar is going to be on real-time streaming analytics, and we'll demonstrate that dashboard as well to you as well. So thanks once again. See you next time.